Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unrestricted Sports. Today, we are talking about the Western Conference of the NHL as they prepare to enter the playoffs following the exhibition games and how we think these teams are going to pan out. So, without further ado, I'm going to let Nolan start us off here, and we'll get going.
Yeah, so first up, and I'll let you run away with this one first because I know you have a decent to say about one of these teams, but we have the Avalanche, who finished second in the Central with 92 points, which was good for second overall in the entire Western Conference, 2 points behind the Blues with what was a relatively strong season. So I'll let you take this one because I know you got a lot to say about the Avalanche.
So, even though the Avalanche had to run away to the new to their new conference because they couldn't handle the heat from the Red Wings anymore,
the Red Wings left. In all fairness.
No, it's Colorado's fault. They ran away. Let's be real here. Detroit always won those fights that they started. The Avalanche. But with that being said, the Avalanche are still a solid team. But to all my Avalanche fans who might see this video, nah, you're outclassed entirely in the Western Conference.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you right now, the Western Conference is going to be between the Golden Knights and the Blues. Avalanche aren't going to be in sight. This is a two-man show here. The Blues and the Golden Knights. Those are the two teams who I say are coming out of the West. The only two teams who are coming out of the West. None of those other teams have the skill or the ability to, I believe, win a 7-game series.
5.
Or to beat, or 5 in this case, and to get to the Stanley Cup.
See, right, here's my issue with that.
I don't see it.
Here's my issue with that. You have what is arguably the best team in the Central Division. They're third in goals for. They take very few penalties, and they have a ton of depth. I mean, their lines are unbelievable. You have the best rookie defenseman in the entire NHL. You have Nathan MacKinnon, who's a finalist for the Hart Trophy, and the Ted Lindsay Award, and the Lady Byng. Nathan MacKinnon was 5th in the NHL for points. Not even to mention who he has around him. I mean, he's got.
It won't matter.
He's got Burakovsky. He's got Landeskog. He's got Rantanen. And then their goalies, Grubauer's going to.
The Blues are a better team.
Grubauer's going to show out. I mean.
The Blues are the better overall team.
Dude.
Sorry.
The Avalanche and the Blues split 2-2. So there's no clear cut who's the better team until we see how it shakes out. But on paper, you have statistically a very, very high-powered offense with the Colorado Avalanche, with a subpar power play and a very, very good penalty kill.
I mean, if we're being honest here, their penalty minutes are some of the worst in the league, and their power play ability is some of the worst in the league. All of which does not stack up well against St. Louis's power play, kill, and penalty minutes. I mean, the Blues are a more disciplined team than the Avalanche are. I think that's pretty obvious. And discipline is what wins championships. Being a disciplined team and being the best out there, the most composed, is the way you win. The Avalanche are not that team. They're a team that, despite their high ranking, never really impressed me at any point in this season at all. Because it's all external, non-fulfilling attributes that are padding everything. I think that a lot of what they've done this season has been padded. Not that they've necessarily played bad teams, but just that when they have an opportunity, they pounce on it and they just absolutely demolish anyone that they can.
I have
And
the Avalanche as
if
my favorites to be the 1 seed coming out of this round robin. Granted, they have struggles like you've mentioned on their back end in terms of goaltending, um, but no matter what,
and their ability to kill power plays,
like you said with the Capitals, a high powered offense can win you games, and
it's different here.
and
It's
that's
different here.
exactly
They
no, it's
aren't.
not. It's the same situation. It's the same situation.
Nah,
The Blues can be compared to the Bruins. The Avalanche can be compared to the Capitals. It's a very similar situation in terms of the statistics that you were mentioning.
the Avalanche don't strike me like the Capitals do. I think that it's a front. It's like the Packers going 13-3 last year. We all knew that they kind of weren't really all that. I kind of get that feeling from the Avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said a billion times, time will tell. So I don't want to take up too much time talking about the Avalanche here, but I guess we can move on to your ever so beloved St. Louis Blues.
I don't love them. I just think that they're better. I
Yeah.
don't care about the Blues.
I bet. I bet. I definitely. I don't
I
want to.
honestly could not care.
My hatred for the
If there was someone,
my hatred for the
if there
Blues doesn't make me say that they're going to do bad. I definitely think they're going to be up there in
if there was
terms
a team
of
that I wanted to win, it would be the Golden Knights.
really.
Yeah, I think that they've done incredible for being an expansion team. They've been competitive every single year. They've struck me as a really solid team that is going to be good for a long time.
Yeah, but see, it's hard to be an expansion team though and not be at least above 500 because you're taking second
What are you
liners.
talking about?
Dude,
You
it's been
you get everyone else's scraps. You get the
no, you
scraps that
don't.
no one else
No,
wants.
you don't. No, you don't.
Yes, you do, because teams get to choose who they want to keep, and everyone else is just the scraps that
Yeah,
can
but it's not.
potentially be
But
drafted
it's
that team.
but it's not like you get to keep that many. There's plenty other situations where I mean you'll see with the Seattle Kraken when they come into the league. They it's not like they're going to
Listen,
be
they shouldn't have
trash.
gotten that name.
They're going to be better than the Red Wings to start. Like it's you're taking um underappreciated, undervalued talent from a team and you're giving them a star role. And the Golden Knights showed that that turns them into something special. That's why they went to the Stanley Cup in their first year as a team.
Well, either way, I still think the Golden Knights are a far better team than the Blues. I think even though the Blues do have better stats, the Golden Knights have been looking to do this for a while now, and I think that this is the perfect opportunity for them to do so.
Yeah, not to talk about the Golden Knights so much because we're speaking on the Blues a little bit here, but the Blues, similar to the Avalanche, are pretty bad in terms of goals against. Both ranking fifth with 190. The Avalanche ranking worse in goals for compared to the Avalanche, but obviously better on the power play. One spot better on the penalty kill. Obviously, you have Jordan Binnington there, hopefully trying to back up his extremely good performance last season. But like I've noted, I don't see it happening this year again for the Blues.
Yeah, no. I don't think that this is a back-to-back year for them. Obviously, what they did last year was pretty cool, but if I had to put money on it, the team that will come out of the West, like I said, is going to be the Golden Knights, just because I think that the Blues and the Avalanche are going to be. I think that I don't know. I just get the feeling that they've worn themselves down too much, and whereas I think the Blues are better than the Avalanche, I think that the Golden Knights are even better than everyone else because I just feel like they haven't been as worn down as these guys. Because
Yeah,
there's no doubt that the Golden Knights are in an easier division than the Blues
yeah.
and the
The
Avalanche.
Central Division is unbelievably stacked, which is why I have kind of an issue here because you look at the Golden Knights division. I mean, obviously, everybody knows how they did in their division and
I
how
mean,
their
the second
matchups
best team
went.
in the second best team in the Golden Knights division is the Oilers. I mean, let's let
I,
that sink in for a bit.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna quote you on that when we talk about the Oilers. Um, but moving on here, I'll give my 2 cents about the Golden Knights here. Um, I think the Golden Knights. I agree with you. I give it to the Golden Knights or the Avalanche to really be the 1 seed in the West coming out of the round robin. It'll be interesting to see who they have starting in goal. Uh, Between Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Lehner. Robin Lehner obviously being coming over from the Blackhawks towards the end of the season there. Um, but Marc-Andre Fleury is still a Stanley Cup contending goaltender, but so is Lehner. So it'll be interesting to see if they split time or if they just kind of let one run with it from the start.
They'll
Uh,
probably split.
I would imagine they'll split in this round robin, but once it comes to regular playoffs, for them at least, like once quarterfinals start, I would imagine they'll pick one goalie and kind of run with it. But
Yeah, I could see that.
moving on to probably the least important team here in this round robin for the West is the Dallas Stars. Quite possibly the most undeserving team to be in the top four. Not to write them off without talking about them. They did have a very good season against Colorado, but against the other two teams in St. Louis and Vegas, they were pretty piss poor. Jamie Benn is obviously nothing to joke about. He's very, very, very good forward. Their goaltending is solid with Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin. But for me, what really gets me is their goals for. They are really bad at scoring. They're good at defense too. They rank second in the NHL, so that says something about the possibility of defense winning championships and all. But their offense is 29th. And
Yeah, all their
it's
other
just not
stats are
very good.
just so bad. I mean, goals for 29th, assists 29th, shooting percentage 28th. The second best stat they have is power play percentage, and it's 12th. Penalty kill 17th, penalty minutes 15th. I mean, everything other than their defense is terrible. Terrible. There's no way around it. It's just bad. So, like I said, I don't, like you said, I mean, I don't want to write them off automatically, but let's be real here. Having the second best defense doesn't mean anything if you don't score any goals. So, and on top of that, they lose their power play matchups when they're down a man. So, I just don't see it happening for them. I think that more than anything, they're kind of just there to be there, more or less.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. They're really nothing to write home about. So we'll move on to the qualifiers for the West, and the first matchup we have here is Coyotes versus Predators. So I think this is an intriguing matchup, and I think right off the top, people are writing off the Coyotes. Their offense isn't very solid, but their defense is pretty good. And they have. Here's my problem with them. Their defense is solid, so another case of defense needing to win the championship. But offensively, they're really bad. 22nd in the league in goals for, and then they take a lot of penalties. And that's not something I think based off of the Predators. I think the Predators will be able to capitalize on what is a really, really bad Coyotes penalty kill. Granted, the Nashville Predators power play isn't anything special. The penalty kill of the Coyotes is even worse. So
Yeah,
this series, the winner of this series, I can't imagine going on to do anything of note.
yeah.
But yeah,
I would agree with that. I think that the advantage is obviously Predators, because they are the better team on paper.
they split one and
And
one in the regular season. Just
well,
so you know.
yeah, but if you look at the overall stats, even if they did split 1-1, but if you look at the stats, I mean, the Predators are, when it comes down to the round robin, they're the ones who are going to win out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but even then, like you said, I don't see them doing anything of note after that. So
Yeah. So definitely not much to talk about there. If we want, we can move on to the next matchup, where we have the Oilers and the Blackhawks. So I'll start here with the Blackhawks in what is the definition of average. They have an extremely good penalty kill, top 10 in the league for sure. But here's the thing that bothers me with the Blackhawks is their ability to. It's not their ability to score because they can score. It's their what's the word? Inconsistencies in scoring, I guess. But as we all know, playoff Kane, playoff Tays, they can shine. So I'll let Brendan take his put his 2 cents in on my Chicago Blackhawks before I talk about the Oilers.
So, I know what I said earlier about the Oilers. I don't think that they're good at all. That being said, they are still miles above the Blackhawks, who are last in the Central.
Yeah, but
Last.
that's not much to say. I mean, the Central Division is
Oh yeah,
absolutely
not much.
stacked.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. But with that being said, the Oilers are going to destroy the Blackhawks here. And I have a few stats for why. The best stat the Blackhawks have is penalty kill. Everything else is below 15th in the league, with the exception of penalty minutes being at 12th, which, I mean, okay, you're going to stay out of the penalty box. That doesn't really matter too much. Everything else is middle of the pack at best. And even then, they're slightly below the actual middle. Now look at the stats for the Oilers. First in power play percentage, second in penalty kill, 17th in penalty minutes, obviously not too great, fourth in shooting percentage, 10th in assists. They have one of the not best defenses, but they have with 20th, but they have the 11th for goals for. So they are by far and away better than the Blackhawks, and it's not even close.
I know
Oilers, the Oilers have 3 top 5 stats in areas that are pretty important. Whereas the best stat for the Blackhawks is their 8th ranked penalty kill, which is going to be going up against one of the best penalty power play scoring teams in the league.
See, but here's the thing. I think the penalty kill and the power play for the Oilers is really going to be a non-factor for the Hawks, at least, because the Hawks don't take many penalties.
Well, they're not the best. They're still 12th.
Well, yeah, obviously they're not the best, but
548 minutes.
The Hawks do not take many penalties. This is a case where, obviously, you could say bias, whatever. I don't really care, but this is a case where I, along with, a decent amount of people, could force
only Chicago fans.
Could not. I'm telling you, there's if there is to be an upset, and what would probably be a major one in terms of just sports media, it would be the Hawks over the Oilers.
Chicago really loves mediocre things and trying to amp them up to elite levels.
See, no.
First you got Trubisky, now you got...
This is another case where I see no matter who wins this series, they're not going to do anything special.
Well, yeah, I agree with that too, but I still think that Oilers are far better than Blackhawks. It's not even close.
Here's the thing, though: is the Hawks and Oilers played 3 times. And then the Hawks handled the Oilers twice out of the 3 times, and they were
regular season.
It doesn't matter. What else am I supposed to use it off of? Based off of last year's playoffs when they didn't play each other, and neither of them made it.
It's just you have to look at the bigger picture here.
The bigger picture is telling me that there's an inexperienced Leon Draisaitl, there's an inexperienced Connor McDavid, there's a subpar Mike Smith coming into a playoffs against a very experienced team, and the Blackhawks were ramping it up at the end of the season. Obviously, I think if the Hawks
ramping it up,
oh
yeah, they were gonna make the playoffs, win the division,
dude. Okay, like if you want to talk about ramping it up in the end of the season, let's talk about the Red Wings then. Jesus.
Hey, I never said that the Red Wings were ramping up at the end of the season. You said that about your Blackhawks, though.
Yeah, the Blackhawks were.
They went on a 1 winning streak before the season was called.
Dude,
that's not ramping up. Let's look at their last few games here. I can pull it up real quick just to see. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Now it's loading. Let's just look at this real quick. In their last few games, they did loss, loss, win, 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 loss, loss, win. So they went like one game above 500 in their last few games
Yeah, but
before the
they
season
were
was going.
close games. Now I don't want to take up too much time because we still have another two other matchups to get to. But if there were to be, the March Madness upset, I'll call it. I think it would have to be this series. There's just
Well,
too,
that might be
there's
the most
just
probable, but I still don't see the Oilers winning,
there's just too much
or the Oilers.
inexperience on the Oilers roster. And I'm not writing off Draisaitl and his amazing season, and I'm not writing off McDavid, but to me, it has to do with experience here. And I think the Hawks are going to be able to keep up with the Oilers to the point where, you might see the Hawks take the series. But
we'll see.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
Moving on to the next series, we have the Wild against the Canucks. In 3 games, the Minnesota Wild won twice. The Canucks won once. I don't have much to say on this series, to be honest. I mean, this is another just kind of flat meh series. I don't think we'll really see competition until the next round. But the Wild, are again similar to what I called the Blackhawks, the definition of average. And in this case, I think the Wild are probably below average because they're really, nothing is standing out for them.
Yeah, no, I really don't know how to call this because both of these teams are both so equally kind of unimpressive that really this could go either way, and I wouldn't even care.
I definitely see the Canucks taking this. The Canucks have very good young talent.
Yes, they are top 5/top 10 in a number of categories, but like that hasn't translated to wins on the ice.
That's fair. But I think Markstrom's having a relatively okay season. In addition to,
if I had to choose, I'd say Canucks.
Yeah. Again, though,
because I think that overall they're younger, better. Their stats are better, even if that hasn't translated to wins. And look at the Wild. They aren't standing out on paper, so I have to go with Canucks because at least the Canucks have put something on paper.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. So we're ready to move on to our next matchup.
Yeah. Next and last matchup is Jets versus Flames, where Winnipeg took 2 out of 3 in the regular season.
So this one's a hard one for me because the Flames obviously aren't really spectacular or anything except for their power play and penalty kill. And even those aren't top tier. I personally wouldn't rank them as that. But then also you look at the Winnipeg Jets and they're also not really top tier. They're both middle of the pack in most of their stats and are only slightly above in a few things that don't really match up well for either of them. So if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, you said the Jets beat them twice, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
In this case, I think the Jets will continue doing that just because I think that they're slightly better and they went into the break hot, whereas the Flames went into it kind of flickering out a little bit. They weren't super impressive towards the end there.
They finished with the same record to end the season. They both finished 6-3-1.
Well, no, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to their win streak going into before it was canceled. The Jets had a 4-win streak going into it, whereas the Flames were kind of wishy-washy and not looking too strong.
Yeah, but the Jets played the Oilers, Coyotes, Sabres in 3 of those 4 games.
It just doesn't look great to me.
That's fair. This is another one of those matchups where either team can really take it. Again, not to
I think the Jets have it in the bag.
Not to beat the baby seal here or anything, but I don't think any of these playoff series are going to be
beat the baby seal.
Super interesting until we get to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that, just because this is really just to determine who what the round robin seeding is going to be. So
yeah, I think it's interesting though. I don't know what went wrong with the Flames because they were first in the West last year.
Yeah, I think that's probably just a resulting effect of. I mean, they were still the third best, but it wasn't. I mean, the Golden Knights clearly won that division.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it'll definitely be an interesting thing. I think their defense is. This is another case where their defense might have to do some of the heavy lifting, not to take away from the contributions of players like Gaudreau and Lindholm and Monahan and Giordano and the like. But this is another case where time will tell, and it'll definitely be an interesting one.
yeah, I will agree with that. I do think the Jets take it, but obviously it could go either way. I do think the Jets pretty big advantage here, though. Even though in regards to other teams, it's not even relevant. But with that being said, that is the end of the Western Conference breakdown going into the, I guess we should say, exhibition games starting tomorrow, along with the round robin coming up soon after that. So that is the end of this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot. Really, please leave a like because my Red Wings need it. Every like saves a Red Wing.
Every like is a guaranteed win for the Blackhawks in the playoffs. That's what it is.
No, it's a guaranteed win for the Red Wings next year. So make sure to ramp that up, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.